Be honest, is your team meeting feeling like a snooze fest from time to time? Well, if your team is dozing off, barely contributing, or secretly wishing they were somewhere else, you're not alone. The good news is, it's a fixable problem. I think we've all been there, particularly online meetings. Leading a meeting, it sometimes feels like I'm talking into a void, trying to get input, and then crickets. And I'm asking myself, well, is it the team? Is it me who's confusing everyone? But often it's the meeting itself and how it's been designed. Hi, my name is Christian, and on this channel we talk about work. Well, making work better. Now, did you know that 71% of managers feel like their meetings are unproductive? There is a real gap between what meetings are supposed to do, for example, create alignment, team bonding, share information that matters, and what they actually do. Bore us to death, drain our energy, and make us want to be somewhere else. Well, in this video, we want to take a look at the reasons for lack of engagement and also offer some small format shifts that could boost participation. There are quite a few reasons why people don't speak up in meetings. And as a leader or meeting facilitators, it's important that I understand the different root causes why people aren't contributing. Let's start with number one, maybe the biggest one. There's a fear of judgment. People often worry that their ideas aren't polished enough, or that if they speak up, it might expose a lack of knowledge. Well, there's so many smart people in the room, right? And this fear can be paralyzing and leading individuals to stay silent rather than taking the perceived risk of speaking up and sharing their ideas in front of their colleagues. McKinsey research suggests that 61% of employees actually are holding back ideas due to fear of negative consequences. And this highlights how significant this concern is in the work environment. And then there are the, typical power dynamics. Well, traditional hierarchical structures can create an environment where, the more senior people holding positions of authority dominate the conversation. And when manager or senior team members consistently take center stage, that might make it feel to the rest of the team like their contributions are less valued, or that it's not their place to speak up and, not even to think about challenging the status quo. So junior team members in particular might have a feeling and perceive their role as primarily observational. And that means they are hesitant to interject or offer alternative perspectives. By the way, did you know that men are 2 times more likely to interrupt others in a meeting? So that's also a part of this dynamic. We all learn from experience. And this means that past experiences also play a role in inhibiting participation in meetings. So if an individual has previously made the experience that their ideas were dismissed, they were ignored or interrupted, they're so much less likely to contribute and speak up in future meetings. And these negative interactions can go so far that there is a sense of helplessness throughout the team, where people believe that their contributions and their input are not valued, and actually any contribution is futile. By the way, you can watch my video on the ego trap, which is another pitfall how you create exactly those negative environments. It's so important to acknowledge that building psychological safety requires consistently valuing contributions, particularly the ones that are maybe challenging or different than others. Psychological safety is closely connected to organizational culture, and it's huge in shaping how comfortable people feel in sharing their ideas or challenging the status quo. So ask yourself, how is it in your team? Does your team operate in an environment that invites challenge, that invites disagreement? Or are you operating in an environment where, the boss is always right, and where the prevailing atmosphere discourages dissent, and it's much more about conformity? Well, in such an environment, it's no wonder nobody speaks up, because it's simply not safe. Finally, we need to acknowledge that every one of us has a healthy sense of egoism, meaning we go through the world asking the question, what's in it for me? This means incentive and ownership significantly impact motivation to contribute. If people don't perceive that they have a stake in the meeting's outcome or the project's success, they're simply less likely to engage actively. People are more inclined to participate when they feel a sense of ownership over the problems that are being discussed, when their expertise is asked for and acknowledged and respected, and when they see that their input is directly influencing the decisions and actions that come out of a meeting. So essentially, people contribute when they are invested in the outcome. And in this context, you can always ask the question, are the right people in the room? And to make things worse, online meetings introduce an additional layer of complexity that can further suppress participation. The lack of physical presence makes it difficult to read nonverbal cues. Makes it so much more challenging to find the appropriate time to speak up without interrupting anyone. Then there might be technical difficulties, background noise, and the awkwardness of speaking over each other, all additional reasons that might invite people to lean back instead of participating. Now, let's talk about solutions and ideas. And by the way, forcing people to turn on their microphone and camera and to speak up, it's not the answer. Real engagement comes from designing better meetings, not by policing behavior. So let's start at the beginning. How about a powerful prompt instead of just diving into the meeting agenda? How about asking, what's the biggest blocker you experienced this week? Or what decision do we need to make today in this meeting? This centers the meeting and people's mindset around thinking and contribution and not just passive information. Second, use asynchronous input before the meeting. So for example, share the topic or questions through Slack or the calendar invite at least 24 hours before the meeting. This will help in particular the more introvert participants and non-native speakers. And a tip for recurring meetings, reshare the previous meeting summary and action points. And I have to mention, AI meeting assistants are a very powerful tool to create and to share those meeting summaries and action points. Tip number 3, invite every contribution. Maybe try even admitting your own uncertainty. Hey, I don't have all the answers. What do you think? This gives permission for others to contribute and think more freely, and it removes the fear of being wrong. Number 4, change roles. And rotating roles creates shared responsibility and more energy. Different people can bring in a different perspective, which can really change the trajectory and outcome of a meeting. Just note, meeting facilitation, it's a skill to be learned. Right? So train your people in meeting facilitation techniques and all your meetings will become better and improve. Tip number 5, don't forget to leverage built-in tools that are designed to boost engagement and interaction in your virtual meetings. Features like polls, chats, breakout rooms can significantly improve and enhance the participants' experience. For example, polls can be used to gather opinions, to test knowledge. Live chats can create a space for real-time discussions or asking questions. And breakout rooms are a fantastic way for smaller groups to have discussions and do collaborative work. These tools are there for a reason, and using them strategically can make your virtual meetings more dynamic, more productive, and more fun. And finally, and that's maybe the most important point, have an open conversation with your team. Ask, how happy are you with the current levels of engagement in our meeting? What's getting in the way of engaging more? What could we do to improve? And well, this is a good way to share responsibility for your meetings and come up with new ideas how to improve them. To recap, remember that the problem likely isn't your team, but it's the way that your meetings are structured. By focusing on creating an inclusive environment where people feel safe, seeking different opinions, making sure everyone's heard, you can transform your meetings from monologues to dialogues. So try out these strategies and tips and just notice a difference. If you found this video helpful, please share it with your colleagues. I feel we are on a mission to make meetings something that people look forward to, not something that they dread. And if you're looking for a tool to help you with analyzing your meetings and identify areas of improvement, check out MeetGeek. It's like having an AI meeting assistant and coach that can show you which parts of your meeting have low participation and where you have opportunity for improvement. Are you already using AI to help make your meetings more seamless and action-oriented? Well, if not, you should be. You can watch this video next and find out more about how AI meeting assistants can help you get more out of your meetings.